every year I would grow more and more in desire and in optimism that I will finish school and I will continue my education somewhere else and I'll get to travel around with my friends and live a very good life. But that kind of came crumbling down in 2022 when my father went to prison. And when it first happened, I didn't know how to feel. I don't know if I should have felt sad about the situation or I should have felt eager to change my circumstances. I didn't know how to feel when that happened. There were a lot of mixed emotions like, okay, Yusuf, you got to step up now and you got to figure out a path in life. And at the same time, I had an emotion where, like, dude, your dad just went to jail. And sure, despite him being a very bad father, there's no one else to depend on. There's no one else for me to trust in building a good future. And I remember, I remember a day before my dad got arrested, he asked me to come to the supermarket with him because he needed, I don't know, he just needed me. He needed me to be with him for some odd reason. Despite me and him having a bad relationship, I think he always knew that his time would come where everything just goes to shit. And the day he asked me to go to the supermarket with him, I was really not bothered to go. Like, I didn't want to go, but something in my heart told me to go. Best fucking believe it was the last time I saw him. And I wish that this never happened. And looking back at it, maybe I should have built a better relationship with my dad. Maybe I should have done things differently. Maybe I should have tried harder to help him out more so we can burn through that bad situation very quickly. But I'm just a kid, man. I'm only 21 years old. And seeing what happened to my father at the age of 17 breaks a person. And sure, I should man up and be like, yeah, I'm the man of the house now. And I should be proud of that because I'm helping my family. But I always go through the story in the back of my head where I lived a different life where I went to university in New York or in LA, or I took acting classes because I wanted to become an actor at some point, or I kept pursuing me posting vlogs on TikTok and just chasing my dreams. And a part of me believes that it's my father's responsibility to give me that kind of path to go down on. And I know some people may say that the reason why he had a downfall is because he didn't plan things correctly. And sure, this is just one of the reasons why, but the biggest reason why is because my father lived most of his life doing bad shit. And if you were to understand my dad fully, you would be like, okay, he kind of deserved what he got. And just to kind of paint the picture of the kind of man my father was, and I know I shouldn't tell this to anybody, but who the fuck am I gonna talk to? I don't think this is gonna show up on anyone's page anyway. Like, I don't think this will get to anybody. But my father was the kind of man who cheated on my mom multiple times. He started a family with another woman and didn't tell us till I exposed him. During this one time, he came to visit us in our home country, and it turned out he also has another child from a woman that he doesn't admit is his child. And that is nothing compared to the drugs and the alcohol and the parties and just, oh my God, and the bad deals and the, dragging people down and all that kind of bad shit. And my father never told us, any of that. He would do that just behind the curtains. And you know what? A little bit of me fears of becoming like him, because that'll be game over for my mom if I do end up like my father. But the story of today isn't about me being like my dad or me fearing like being like my dad, but it's about how I wish I lived a better life, how I wish I had a good family, a good future, not too much responsibility at 17, because come on, who the fuck needs responsibility at 17, right? Who needs responsibility at 19? Sure, 21, you can start to figure things out, but why endure all that messed up shit? Why be born into a family that doesn't have anything figured out? You wanna know something? During the time I lived with my father, I moved in with my father in 2019, and what happened was he was having this conversation with me about how he always wanted to divorce my mom but couldn't because of me and my brother. And also, he pointed out the fact that the reason why him and my mom didn't get a divorce after 2 months of being married is because I was already on the way. And he kind of painted the picture that the reason why him and my mom are still together is because I came into the picture. And it made me feel a little bit bad about myself, because when he said that to me, it felt like that most of the problems that I would face at home with my mom and all her mental issues, it kind of felt now that it's all because of me, because the reason why she didn't get a divorce from the beginning is because I was on the way. And that made me feel like shit. Imagine being a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9-year-old, having to go through a lot of emotional problems at home with your own mom, not knowing why that's happening, but then getting to figure out at the age of like 15 that the reason why that was happening is because my family didn't get a divorce because I was in the picture. And here's the cherry on top, okay? They also decided to have another son, so my brother, my little brother, God bless him, because they didn't want me to be alone. And now it felt like I had more pressure to give to my mom because I was in the picture and they didn't want me to grow up alone. So they decided to have another son, despite everything that's going on at home, knowing that home is fucked up and having another son is the worst decision you can make. But they still took that decision because they didn't want me to be alone. Not because, they didn't want me to have a great brother or sister and not be the only child. It's because they knew that if I continued in that family as a one child, I honestly could have done something to myself. And I say this multiple times to my cousins and my friends that I think the biggest blessing that I got in life is my little brother. And it's because I genuinely believe I could have done something to myself if it weren't for him being in the picture. And I know for you, you may say, Yusuf, people had it worse than you. And yes, absolutely. But that shouldn't stop me from expressing my emotions. I don't want to be the kind of person who just stuffs his emotions deep down, because I got to understand the past 2 years that healing isn't about avoiding and replacing. So let's say instead of thinking negative thoughts, you think positive thoughts. But it turns out that you need to fully let these emotions and these thoughts and these beliefs come to light so you're able to observe them. And by me expressing how I feel, I'm not surrendering to the emotion or the thought that got brought up within me just 30 minutes ago before recording this, but instead I am healing it. And by me making this video, I get to feel more peaceful. And I believe that everyone out there who goes through family trauma and wishes they had a different life should always tell their story, regardless of their background or where they come from or how things are going for them at the moment. I believe that everyone should talk about their story and put their voice out there. And maybe this is an invitation for you to tell me your story in the comments below. And I know, you may be afraid to tell me how you feel about life, but I think you should let it out. If you're trying to heal something within you, bring it to light. So then maybe different people could resonate with you. I'm not saying that my story will 100% resonate with what's going on in your life, but what I am encouraging is to admit when you wish you had a better life, to not try to pretend to be happy. Don't pretend to be happy. If something is within you that nobody else can see and you're afraid to talk about it and you're trying to avoid, this is your invitation to let it out. Sure, have that cry, journal your thoughts down, tell a friend, share it in a community, share it in the comments below. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm telling you my story about my dad, and I have zero shame and I have zero regrets. And if my father somehow sees this and he tells me to take it down, I will not take it down, because my story deserves to be fucking heard, just like anyone else's story. You're not different from the famous person with a documentary. You're not different from the person who talks about that they have had it worse than everybody else. You're not different from anybody. Everyone is on their unique path and deserves to tell their trauma, to tell their story, to tell people that, listen, my voice is as important as the famous person who has a documentary talking about how he had it very hard in life and his parents lived on food stamps and all that kind of stuff. Your voice matters just as much as anybody else's. And that's my entire purpose of making today's episode. When I personally grew up in Dubai, I had this thing where I started to pick up the camera and film vlogs with my friends as a way to kind of just run away from my problems at home. And what that made me feel was I felt like I could do something that not only brings me joy, but brings other people joy. And sure, although it was very hard for me to make these videos when I still lived in Dubai because of what was going on back home, my friends loved it, that it made me feel good because my friends loved it. And then anybody who came across my video and lived in the same area as me would be like, dude, I love your videos. You're better than David Dobrik. If you don't know who David Dobrik is, he's one of the biggest entertainers on YouTube. Well, he used to be, at least. I don't know about now. But people used to come up to me and be like, dude, I love your videos and you should keep going. And that made me feel happy. And me making this will also make me feel joyful if people also come forward and tell their story with no shame. If your parents did something that you wish they didn't do, but it hurt you a lot, tell it to people. If you wish you had a different life, admit it. There's no shame about it. If you wish you continued your education, but you had to drop out, tell people, tell your story. Honestly, you cannot heal what you're not willing to bring to light. And by me making this, not only am I healing myself, because I'm letting my thoughts out instead of just letting them dwell in my head and making things worse for me, but I'm also encouraging people to do the same. And this could be a good thing and a bad thing. Some people may encourage you to just talk to a therapist. I would rather pick up the camera and tell everybody. So with all that yapping, I wish I wasn't too depressing on you or affecting your mental state in any way. Like I mentioned, to help you, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you need my help in any way, you can comment down below your Instagram, and I'm more than happy to reach out to you personally. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, please leave them down below, and I'm more than happy to help you and see how I can be of any value to you. If you want me to make more random conversations, please let me know, because my motto is I get to prosper in life when I help other people just like you prosper in any way. So please let me know how I can be of any value to you, and I'm more than happy to provide you with whatever you need. And just remember, your voice matters, and I hope I see you in the next episode.